Welcome back to A Stark Contrast, where we discuss the differences and similarities between Marvel Comics and their MCU counterparts. And we are your hosts, Geoffrey
and Dai.
Hello, and welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, Jeff. Also, I mean, you can whoop if you want.
Woo!
Because first things first, happy anniversary! So can you believe it, dear listeners? It has officially been a whole 5 years since we started this wee little show of ours.
Wow, I think that's crazy, actually.
Right?
Wow.
You were in your 20s. I was not much younger than I am now. But yeah, 5 years. Yeah.
5 years. That is a toddler.
And it's so interesting
It's
because,
a baby.
right? You think about it, you're like, oh, 6 seasons. But really, it's like 5 1/4 because we started like halfway through the year.
Yes.
And we're doing it in a weird way because I have OCD. But 5 years
Yeah.
is a long time, especially because we started during the pandemic. And so
Pretty much.
yeah, so wild.
Yeah.
Crazy times, but some good times. So that
Amazing.
I did the math. That means we did 21 mini Marvels, 5 Marvel mashups, which are our end of year episodes.
End of years, yeah.
Leaving 104 character studies to date.
Whoa, that's crazy when you put a
Wild.
number on it.
Yeah, because it's like, oh yeah, sure, 130, episode 130, we're doing Galactus.
Yeah.
But then to think, oh, we've covered 104 characters in the Marvel universe is something else. And so,
My gosh.
not to jump ahead in my notes here, I met Elijah Mountjoy, who is the voice actor for Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier in Marvel Rivals. And he had this recollection of like, I know you, right? Like we follow each other on Instagram. And I was like, you follow my podcast, actually, not me, but you follow my podcast. And he asked me to kind of give him the skinny on what we do and how long we've been doing it. And so when I was telling him, I was like, we're doing pretty good. We sound really good. Like, and like, he was like, that's a really cool concept. I was like, that's what I love, is that people act like they've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. I mean, because people do review videos and social stuff, but they don't do full on.
We don't only give hot takes.
Yeah.
We give you hot takes with a story.
Exactly. With some sauce.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I thought that was really cool. But yeah, 104, buddy. That's crazy.
That is
town.
actually crazy because,
Right.
like for us, it's like, we have our day jobs and we do this because we still like genuinely like enjoy the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And, it's like a break in our daily intake of consumption of media. And so it's like, oh yeah. And I learned something new. Almost, I learned that every superhero in the comics has the same powers.
No, they don't. You're kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's great though, because even for me, like this isn't all coming out of my brain. This is really like, okay, what am I gonna find that people like you and people who like me who have just forgotten or just never knew from the get-go things about these characters, and also being able to talk about them in a space that's very relevant and in present tense is fun and enjoyable. So I'm glad you're still in it, buddy, because
we're in there.
We're in there. Yeah. And so happy anniversary. Thanks for sticking with us. And if you're new, thanks for joining us on the journey. So, like I mentioned, I went to WonderCon this past weekend, met Bucky. That was great. But it felt like, which I knew for a moment, but I didn't realize how many conventions were happening simultaneously. We're definitely back in it, because Elizabeth Olsen was at C2E2 in Chicago. So all these pictures are popping up of her. And then Wyatt Russell was at MegaCon Florida.
That was this past weekend? Chicago?
And Chicago was. Were you there?
No, I'm just. But I am going to be going to Chicago at some point.
Your timing. I know you gotta align again, buddy.
All right.
I'm expecting another picture of you. You have to do the T-shirt idea.
Like, dude, if she's going to continue to do these appearances,
it's going to be. So
I'm going to have to
funny.
shell out.
Oh my gosh, you have to do it. You have to. But yeah, so she and Wyatt Russell were out in the ether, and so I don't know that Lizzie said anything particularly crazy, but she did apparently confirm that Scarlet Witch was returning in Secret Wars, or she hoped she was. I know. I was like, what?
She said that in a panel, or like she talked with somebody?
That's the thing. There's no. I'm like, where's your proof? Where's the proof?
Yeah, we would have seen something on the medias of social.
100%. Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm kind of like, okay, what happened? But that's floating around the ether. But there are videos of Wyatt Russell talking about stuff. And he just kind of went to town. He was like, yeah, the Thunderbolts were all supposed to die at the end of the movie. All of them. Every single one would have been perfect for you. I would have been mourning.
Oh, the original.
In the original script. Yes. Yeah, they were all supposed to die.
Yeah.
And then he mentioned some things about Doomsday. Like he loved working with Sebastian and David Harbour so much. And, just other stuff about U.S. Agent that we hadn't really heard. So I'm curious, like, oh gosh, this is going to be an interesting convention season because anybody, anybody who's remotely attached to Doomsday or hasn't been formally announced, they're going to get pressed for everything because even Andrew Garfield is. Like, he's out doing press. And they're just like, so Spider-Man? And he's like, yeah, well, I'm not in it, and nobody believes him. So we're in it, and we're in that era again of the Blitz, right? Zendaya, same thing.
But Zendaya's Zendaya is friggin' Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, she's
like
she
got it on lock.
She's so good at everything.
She's
so funny. Yeah, so yeah, all the stuff is ramping up again, very hard and very, it's going to be all over the place. And so it's going to be a good time, that's for sure. And then it's going to make up for all the quiet moments we've had. Where there's just, dry spells.
I was like thinking about this. I was like, oh wow, like we're talking about this literally like not just off mic, and I'm like,
yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, we got Daredevil that's rolling into Punisher, and then you had brought up like, oh yeah, X-Men '97 season 2, and I was like, what? That's happening?
Yeah.
And then pretty much rolled right into Spider-Man.
Yep.
And then Spider-Man. After that, you just roll into
Vision Quest
marketing. Obviously, Doomsday marketing is probably going to start right after Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
So,
lest we forget, D23 is happening this year again.
Already? It's been 2 years?
Yeah. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen in Anaheim. Tickets are on sale actually right now. And so it's going to be, things are shaping up.
That first Doomsday teaser trailer.
Oh boy, buddy.
That thing's going to hit.
Yeah.
Hit.
All the things are happening. And speaking of things happening, we are officially, as of this episode of the podcast, we are 3 episodes deep into Daredevil Born Again Season 2.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you need a refresher on the release rollout, episode 4, April 7th, episode 5, April 14th, episode 6, April 21st, episode 7, April 28th, and the season finale on May 5th. Cinco de Mayo.
Ooh.
Immediately followed by the Punisher standalone One Last Kill on May 12th. So,
wow.
Yeah, there's content every week.
Ooh,
yep. It's going to be a good time. And so, yeah, that's conveniently before Brand New Day. So, I mean, we're going to get a big chunk of Punisher content, and then there's going to, again, X-Men's going to be there. And then, like everything Jeff just said is
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Red.
I love the poster because people are like, he looks like he wants to tell me something. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
I love Johnny Bernthal. I love him so much. I can't wait. Yeah. I'm totally good not seeing him in Daredevil because of the one shot. Like, I'm good with the special presentation.
You see what Vincent D'Onofrio said, like on Twitter and everything?
What did he say?
Where I think because people know that, like, oh, like, why isn't Punisher in season 2? Mm-hmm. And he's like, it's because he's doing other things. He's with that insect,
the annoying insect. Yeah. Well, first of all, Vincent, spiders are not insects; they're arachnids. But yes, and everyone was like, "Man, he's locked into that Kingpin mode." I was like, "Yeah,
I would need that." And then he's pissed. He was like, he's like, "Yo, Sony and Marvel, get it together."
Yeah, I know. I'm like, if anyone can make this happen, it's Vincent D'Onofrio. It truly is.
Yeah, he's probably like, I just want to fight Tom Holland. I want to squish that little mob.
He's probably seen those scenes from the Sony Insomniac game, and he's like, I want to do that.
Even from Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
well, he's like, oh yeah.
Because have you seen that footage of he and Charlie being introduced to Daredevil in Marvel Rivals?
Oh yeah.
Because his first question was, "Is Kingpin in this?" And they were like, the girl was like, "No," and he was like, "Oh." So I feel like he's up to date on all the multimedia that is Wilson Fisk. So hopefully he can deliver some of those moves from the game eventually. But until then, come on, Sony, Marvel. Be friendly.
Season 2 is off to an amazing start.
Oh, it's so
I love
great.
it so much.
Yeah, it's really
the
good.
stakes are high. The conflict is amazing. I'm just like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, it's all boiling.
It's all boiling.
It's boiling.
It's piping hot. Yeah. And Jeff and I are gonna do a series review at some point and really get into it. But man, to your point, these last 2 episodes, and this was the only week that they dropped 2 episodes. So, I saw the chatter online, like people were just surprised that these are the tamest. They're supposed to be the tamest of the series.
Yes, I saw a tweet saying like, he was like, I thought they were dropping 2 because, one was like boring.
Right.
And then they said, they were like, but why was I just like on a high for for 2 hours straight?
I saw that. I was like, yeah, actually. And yeah, it's so compelling, right? And all the characters are really, you're just interested in everybody.
I was like, we got a Daredevil oneer. Mm-hmm. I was like in the middle of that scene, I was like, are we getting a fight oneer right now? Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, let's go.
And it's great. It's unfiltered Matt Murdock as Daredevil, like really getting into it and going through the things. So we're almost halfway. We'll be halfway by the time we chat next, but man.
This might be, before I move on, this might be a hot take for you because we were talking about it this morning.
Yeah.
But I was also like, I really didn't like Matt getting mad at Karen for wanting to, even have the thought of, an eye for an eye type of deal.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's as violent and volatile as Matt can be. Mm-hmm. He is very much like the other ones where you're like, you don't mean to go kill them.
Yeah, like you don't have to kill them. You can just give them, brain damage.
Exactly.
I'm like,
and it's also for Karen in particular, it's one of those things where she has gone from this delightful green zone into straight up, they introduced her in this season, she's kickboxing. Her mentality is like, I'm in the red zone at all times now because I could die at any moment.
Yeah, just because also like Foggy getting killed. Exactly. She's like no, like hey, if we got to get our hands dirty, we got to get our hands dirty. And then Matt is like, no, Karen, can't do that.
Karen, we can't do that.
What? Oh, you want Frank's help now?
The delivery was incredible.
Dude, it was so
incredible.
Funny.
I was like,
meanwhile, Matt is just like shirtless with his abs out. He's like, you want his help? Are you sure? Look at me.
Yeah, I'm right here. I was waiting for the classic tilt of the head and her heartbeat just going crazy. But I was like, they didn't need to because they already did that in season 1, right? They already did that. They already established that Frank has that place with Karen. And I'm just like, brother. But they're placing the dominoes strategically where they need to fall. And so I'm curious where it's going to take Karen. I have said from before the season started, I would like to see Karen die. I know that's an unpopular decision, but at this point, especially if she's going off like that, she needs to pull back or she's going to get into, like, come on, little gun.
I think she kills somebody in front of Matt.
Yeah.
Like
it's not
with intent.
Yeah. It's not a good route for it's not a good path for her. As a
Team
character.
Karen, baby, come on. Come on.
She's not gonna survive if she's gonna go that hard.
That's okay. As long as Vanessa dies.
Oh, I think they're both gonna die.
No. As long as Powell dies, a very violent
one likes
death.
Powell. Yeah,
exactly. I hope he dies a very violent death.
He's incredible at being very dislikable. And oh my God, he's great. He's great at that because he's real as hell.
I also think
I think Heather's gonna die. Actually, I don't think Vanessa will. I think Heather will.
People are saying we can discuss that another time.
Yep.
But I think Gandolfini's son dies too.
Yeah, actually,
I feel like he slips.
Oh yeah,
because he's already slipped.
Yeah.
So I feel.
I know. Episode 3 was just him sloped 90 miles an hour.
Yeah. He's just like, oh God.
Oh yeah, he messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, some great stuff we will go into further detail about at the end of the season. So yeah, stay tuned for all of that. But of course, we are here to discuss something else, very different, of another world. And so all that said, let's dive into this episode's character study. But first, as always, a reminder, we are not experts and we don't claim to be. We're just a couple of nerds nerding out. And in this episode, we're nerding out about Galactus.
Galactus.
That's the deepest I can get.
Yeah, dude, I cannot go there.
Yeah, it's hard. So Galactus. For more on this character, check out our Fantastic Four episodes, as well as our review on Fantastic Four First Steps, and of course, episode 125, all about the Silver Surfer. So, a lot of this is going to be a repeat of the Silver Surfer episode. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby are to thank for this character.
Of course.
Whose first appearance, just like Silver Surfer, is Fantastic Four number 48, March 1966. And so Jeff has already gone through the gauntlet of trying to guess all the things. It was 12 centavos. And it features the Watcher side by side with the Fantastic Four in peril. And the title, fittingly enough, was The Coming of Galactus. So this is actually considered a cameo for Galactus. His first appearance is more or less credited to issue 49, which is the issue immediately after. But this does contain the first appearance of Silver Surfer as well. Mm-hmm. You know, Jeff did a whole video about this, funny enough, and the inconsistencies of Galactus's attire and how he went from red, green, and white with a big G on his
He's a luchador
chest to the maroon and purple with a G on his chest, no pants, to the character that we now know and are very familiar with in continuity. Funny enough, the grading system and the cost and the value of the comics has changed since the Silver Surfer episode, which is kind of crazy because we have done episodes where they haven't changed in literal years, whereas this has changed in just months. So what has actually affected that? I'm not sure, but the highest graded comic you can currently find online on Shortbox is a CGC 9.0 for $5,000. On eBay, you could get a CGC 9.4 gold signature series by Stan Lee for $35,000.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's a crazy one. But I mean, for 1966,
my God,
9.4. That's pretty solid.
That
and
is
again, the
really
first appearance of both Silver Surfer and Galactus, more or less. Yeah, I mean, but $35,000.
That's
a pretty penny. Oh yeah, and then of course the lowest graded I found was a short boxed CGC 2.0 for $490, as well as one for 1.6. I don't know why, but there's two for very different prices. And then on eBay, a CGC 0.5. 0.5 for $330. The nerve, the actual nerve, is crazy.
Oh my gosh.
It is barely held together. I'm sure that thing is deteriorating in the case.
Saying.
Yep. As far as fair market value goes, you can get this book anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000. Raw, $10,000. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, you should be getting a good deal from 4 to 6. But if you just buy it, you go up to a store or a supplier of some sort, $10K or more. It's probably going to be the price tag on that one. And then the highest CGC grade in existence is a 9.8, and there were 46 registered. So 46 copies that are almost mint condition exist in the world, which is kind of
crazy.
Amazing.
I wonder if they're storing it or they're just...
Yeah, but again, it's a testament to like collectors, true collectors that really sat there for damn well, 60 years.
Yeah.
Just keeping this comic in perfect condition or near perfect. So all that said, when was your first exposure to Galactus?
The Silver Surfer.
Rise of the Silver
Surfer. Yeah. Just
so funny.
The cloud.
The wormhole. Yeah, it's so funny. I remember thinking back while in the seat watching that movie, And I think I was with my oldest friend at the time, who was my comic book friend.
Uh-huh.
And we were both like, why is he a cloud?
Yeah.
Like both of us were like, what?
Yeah. And to me, as someone who's not aware of like comics, it's just like,
you would have no idea.
Like, whoa, crazy.
Yeah.
And then you come to think, then you see the actual, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. You're like, wait, that's an interesting take. Not horrible, but also, yeah, if you're vaguely familiar with him, you're like, oh, he's not a person.
He's a cloud.
Just a cloud. Okay, cool. Yeah, me, oof. It would have to be the comics, a combination of the comics and the trading cards, but definitely comics. Because, yeah, I dabbled in a lot of older stuff when I was little, but it didn't stick quite like Spider-Man and X-Men did. So I knew who this guy was, but just that he ate stuff. That he ate planets.
Yeah, pretty much.
that was it. I was like, okay, he's a bit, not a bad guy necessarily, just that he ate planets. That's what he did to stay alive. And so as far as our handy dandy mini book of villains is concerned, oh, Jeff, you're gonna have so much fun with this. Real name, Galan. And this is the funny thing. I'm not sure if it's Galan or Gallon or Galan. Like, so bear with me with the different inflections during this episode. But his height is 28 feet and 9 inches at normalcy. Because as we'll discuss, the more he consumes, the bigger he can get. And his weight is 18.2 tons. So that's by default, mind you. That's just default.
Yeah. That's a
And
lot.
as for his bio, it reads, no being is more feared across existence than Galactus, the so-called Devourer of Worlds and sole survivor of the cosmos-consuming cataclysm that created the current universe. With his cosmically powered heralds, the insatiable Galactus seeks planets to consume and has frequently tried to eat Earth. Yeah.
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 Just the Devourer of Worlds.
Yeah, right. But the very interesting nuance is that there's not one speck of it being like, he's a terrible person and he's a bad guy, which is something we're actually going to talk about a bit in this episode. So when it comes to Gallon of Ta's first appearance, for the most part, we've discussed this in our Silver Surfer episode, so please go back and listen to the full recap in that one. But as far as origins of this caliber are concerned, it's a major event that just happens on a Tuesday for the involved heroes. And of course, this was the Fantastic Four. And so as it would be, Galactus sent his herald to scout the new planet for consumption. And despite the efforts of both the Fantastic Four and the Watcher, Silver Surfer still managed to measure the potential of Earth's resources and report back to the big guy for his impending consumption of the planet. The story, of course, continues in Fantastic Four 49, which is typically considered his first appearance. But as you can tell by the grading, a lot of people are saying 48 is it. Because he says, I believe he says his name at the end of the issue. And so, they don't call it a cameo. It's a first appearance. And so the story continued in 49, where Ben's girlfriend, Alicia Masters, attempted to convince the Surfer that Earth's people were worth saving, while the Watcher sent Johnny Storm to retrieve an apparatus called the Ultimate Nullifier, which, just a reminder, if you didn't know what the Ultimate Nullifier was, it's considered one of the most destructive weapons capable of erasing anything and everything from existence, including entire timelines, universes, galaxies, etc. And again, it's so funny. It looks like a bottle opener. Like you just hold it and you just...
Oh, really?
A little trigger thing, yeah. And so being threatened by the apparatus alone scared Galactus into submission, and just as immediately he dismissed the Surfer as his herald and left Earth to consume another planet. Bada bing, bada boom, that was the end of Galactus's first official appearance.
Hell yeah.
His origin, however,
Jesus,
occurs about 3 years later in the pages of Thor number 168 and 169.
Wow.
And so what happens is that Thor is in seek of Galactus, as he's a sworn enemy of Odin's, and of course, Asgard. So Thor is seeking to protect not only his father, but also his people. And so Thor then travels the cosmos in what is called the Odin ship.
The Odin ship?
The Odin ship.
I'm just going to call that for all of Odin's beds or something that I have.
If Odin is in your car, it is officially the Odin ship.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, right?
We're in the Odin ship.
The Odin ship. And so he travels in the Odin ship, eventually encountering the behemoth. And while Thor is prepared to fight, like he's ready to square up against this guy, even though he's, 4, 5, 6 times his size, Galactus doesn't even want to hear it. Instead, he was seeking to share knowledge with Thor. So to lead into the narrative, Galactus unleashes this mist and this thing that he regards as the Visicloud. God, this is like the era of, the Batmobile, the Bat phone, the Bat fridge. And so they come up with all these obscure, not so obscure names for things, like the Visicloud.
Visicloud.
So it envelops Thor to help speed his understanding, as Galactus puts it, bringing life to the tales that he was about to share with Odin's son. And so Thor is then mentally transported back in time, when galaxies were still being born, when Earth itself was still in its infancy, and it shows the Watcher observing when he witnesses the crash of a falling starship and speeds away to take a closer look. And so upon further inspection, he realizes that the inhabitants of the ship suffered some plague of pestilence, killing all of those aboard as victims of lethal radiation. And the story continues in the next issue, of course. And despite the unfortunate scene, the Watcher senses a trace of life and begins searching, finding one individual who coincidentally was closest to this contraption that's irradiated and killing all of these people. And so Thor and Galactus continue to talk and unravel the story. And so Galactus shares, quote unquote, all that is left of me when the hunger is gone are the dreaded memories.
Yeesh.
And he recalls paradise on the world of Ta, a planet even Galactus himself describes as a planet so far advanced from any other that there are no words to do it justice.
Ta.
And it's so funny because if you recall in our Silver Surfer episode, Norrin said the same thing about Zenla. It was right. A planet of peace and perfection.
Familiar. Okay.
Yeah. And so it's so funny because they all depict their homeworld as these bubbles of perfection. And so this is what it looked like. This perfection, this futuristic.
Okay. Okay.
Is a lot of elevators.
Very Jetson-like.
Yes,
sure.
Exactly right. Very Jetson-like, but very much more colorful.
Yeah.
And so, it was a paradise to Galactus. And so even Galactus admitted his fabled Ta could not endure forever, sharing with others that even despite his travels for some semblance of reprieve, that all life would succumb to the creeping plague. So despite all their perfection, there was always this looming feeling of destruction following the people of Ta. And so as people begin to fall ill and die, Galen and his associates decide to die in a manner befitting of Ta. And so they plan to take flight in a ship and fly into the galaxy's sun, largest sun, mind you. And he says, and I think his colleague says, all the world will be our funeral pyre. And it's a bit culty. If you read the issue itself, it's kind of like they've all accepted their fate. And then they're like, let's go on a spaceship and then fly into the sun so that we can die with honor. And it's like, it's a wee bit culty. But it brings us back to just before the beginning of the tale. After all is said and done, it brings you back to the beginning of the story, where all of his people are perishing one by one, yet Galen doesn't quite experience death. Instead, a quote-unquote strange new force pulses within him. And so he's experiencing very similarly to the Fantastic Four. Once they got irradiated from the cosmic rays and they all started to feel a little funny. Galen had the same sort of experience when he was aboard the ship thinking, oh, everyone else is dead. I'm the last one here. Is this what death feels like? Then the crash happened, and that's where the Watcher then found the ship. So what's the first rule of Watcher Club? That's you don't interfere. You don't interfere. And so the Watcher did exactly that. He kept his distance. He was very conflicted. He's like, I should help him. He's the last remaining person, but I am a Watcher. I cannot do anything. Yeah. So he did exactly that. He observed Galen, studying him in his transformative state, and a power was slowly consuming him. I think the Watcher notes that he's like, I can feel the power surging through him, and it's enough
coursing through my veins.
Yeah, exactly. It's enough to shatter a planet. And all the while, the Watcher debates with himself again if he should interfere. And at this stage, the Watcher could have destroyed Galen and stopped the creation of what Galactus would eventually be, but instead, Galen, as he's being imbued and consumed by this incredible power, takes to space again. So it's like he subconsciously, not so subconsciously, made himself a transportation pod.
Yeah.
And cocooned himself and shot into space in this vessel and disappears. And so the Watcher's like, well, my opportunity is gone. I guess he will live. And so alone in this ship, Galen learned to control his powers and regulate the great energy that was within him. And he transformed the ship itself into a chamber that allowed him to essentially incubate for centuries before he would re-emerge as the being known as Galactus.
Galactus.
So I have some screenshots here for you, Jeff. And so this is within the pod. And so conveniently, there is attire. There is a costume in this pod.
Of course.
And so,
convenient.
All right. And so he did learn to control the power, and then he created this helmet that would help him sustain and circulate the energy. So that's why it looks the way it does. They're trying to justify. I know they're trying to justify everything.
Yeah. Of course, you got to.
Yeah. And so this is the pod. And so the pod started as a chamber that kind of looks like a missile, cylinder missile. And then it started growing and manifesting into something that looks more like an AC unit.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. And that was his incubator.
Got it.
So he was eventually born into Galactus from his cube.
Next week, we meet Galactus. The Devourer of Worlds.
It's so funny. Yes, exactly. It's just so fun because I'm sure at the time this was like the coolest,
of course,
baddest,
you're
big,
like, oh my god, who is this?
Space. Yeah, it was so sensational, like compared to what they do with it now. Now it's so much darker and deep and like very dense.
He's going through pain.
Yeah, and so it's interesting to see the creation of a character that far back in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very fitting, and it's a touch corny, but at the end of the day, they created something incredible with Galactus, and we'll talk about that surely. And so if it weren't clear enough, the title of the Devourer isn't only attached to Galactus himself. Different people can be the Devourer, is basically what I'm saying. And so it's said that each iteration of the multiverse had its own Devourer of Worlds, being the last survivor of the previous multiverse merged with that universe's essence. So, for example, Galactus is the Devourer of the 7th, 8th cosmos, a survivor from the 6th. So I know, it's a little confusing. That's a little confusing. But we'll talk about it a little later because it does entail a small child by the name of Franklin Richards. So, Galactus in the MCU, portrayed first and only so far by Ralph Ineson in Fantastic Four First Steps. Although this is, again, far from the character's first appearance, as Jeff mentioned above. As we all know, he debuted as a space worm cloud.
A cloud!
A cloud! I know, I looked back. I was going to watch it again, but I watched it for the Silver Surfer episode, so I didn't want to watch it again.
A cloud.
But I looked up the pictures, and yeah, he's
that
very
Silver
much...
Surfer has flown through.
Yeah.
A cloud.
A cloud. He was a cloud. And so, fun fact, to add insult to injury, the novelization of the Earth 121698, aka Foxverse film, refers to Galactus as the Galactus, spelled as Galactus.
The Galactus.
The Galactus. It's exactly how you think it is. It's spelled Gahlak.
Sure.
Tus.
Sure.
The Galactus.
Galactus.
And according to many, even as late as March 2007, this was 3 months prior to the film's release date, mind you, Galactus's final design had still not been finalized. So that explains why he was a worm, a space cloud, because 3 months before the film was coming out, they didn't even know what he was gonna look like.
I guess, man, it's not like there's like, you know, comic books to reference, but no, reference? I get it. Let's get it. I don't know where I'd start either.
It's so wild, especially to think about in 2007's like CGI world. Yeah. Like you didn't know what he was gonna look like, and you had to drop that movie in 3 months.
Come on,
that's crazy work. Crazy work.
Come on.
But as we know of Galactus in the MCU, he was simply the Devourer who came upon Shalabal's planet of Zenla in Earth 828, and instead of devouring it, he imbued her with the power cosmic, whence she became his herald, the Silver Surfer. So it's no different for Norn Rad in the Foxverse, of course, but one major commonality of Galactus between both verses is that we don't get a breath of his origin story whatsoever, aside that he's a devourer. That's all they say about him, is that, oh, he's a devourer, but there's no origin story at all. They're just like, here's this big guy or this big cloud. It's going to eat the planet. And they don't say anything else about
You've been chosen.
Exactly. You look like a snack. And so you could say that the one stark contrast of the MCU film is none other than Franklin Richards himself prophesied to be the next Devourer, making what we just noted about the comic book version so much more compelling. So, yeah, what do we think? Do we think they're ever going to go that far and tell us the story of Galen of Ta? Or do you think they're just going to be like, nope, Galactus?
I don't think they'll ever go. Maybe, I mean, they can mention it.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll ever go super deep into Galactus. Because at the end of the day, he is just a formidable foe.
Yeah.
You know,
like how do you stop him?
Like, you can't really kill him. He's kind of just there.
Yeah, not in a traditional sense by any means.
Yeah, so, but he will I hope he plays much more of a role, villain-wise. I mean, he's somewhere in the ether.
Yeah. That's what's really interesting to me, because I'm like, unless they just default on him being so scary, like, what's the end game there? Like, and if they don't defeat him for real ever, then what will they do with
Is
him?
he like a small cog in this machine, or is he the machine?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's kind of like you got, like, obviously you have, like, like, whatever happens in X-Men, Fantastic Four. Like, who are the big baddie? Doom. There's Doom.
We mentioned this in a previous episode. I think it might have been the Fantastic Four one, where we were like, how much bigger do you go? And then really, that's just the Celestials. It turns into a celestial situation.
Yeah.
And it turns into eternity and seeing all of these characters that have been peppered in that we don't know about. Like, they talk about them. Sure, Love and Thunder talked about eternity. We saw eternity for like 5 seconds at the end of the film. But we don't know anything about them other than they're elders. They were there at the creation of the universe. And they're incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
So it's like, how big do they go?
Like, I'm very sad that we probably will not see Eternals like anymore.
Which bums me out.
Yeah, because like those were like the only connection like with Celestials.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously ignoring Captain America, you know, Brave New World with the Celestial. But it's like, we're not like, are we gonna see? I forget the Celestial's name again. The one that like at
Tiamat?
the end,
Tiamat, maybe.
That's the one that I think is in the
he's in the ocean. Yeah.
But it's like, man, like that was really cool.
Yeah, like the one that abducted Cersei.
Yes.
Yeah.
My girl.
Save
her.
I know. I think there's still potential that we can see flickers of them. Like, we could see Gemma Chan as Cersei with Thena. You know what I mean? But we're never going to see them as a collective again.
Like, with Harry Styles is just never going to be in another movie.
I don't think he will, sadly. I mean, like, I was talking to somebody about this recently, too. I was like, I forget that Harry Styles is in the MCU. And he's a prominent character.
He's Thanos' brother.
Yeah. Star Fox.
Like, what?
Yeah. And they're just never going to...
It's never... Yeah.
With Pip the Troll, like, they're never going to do it again.
And just even that collection of heroes, too. It's like... And then, like, and Icarus...
Icarus.
He's up. He's in the sun.
He's in the sun, but he could always come back.
Exactly.
He could come back, and so yeah, I think
crazy.
there's possibilities there, but whether or not they'll actually pursue any of that stuff is anyone's guess.
I know,
but that'd be so dope. I would personally love to see just a small, like longer than the Shala Ball thing. I'm glad they did that, but it was not enough. I mean, for her, it was enough. Because you understood exactly what was happening.
The backstory?
The backstory was fine. It was a cool, unnamed daughter. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But for someone of Galactus's...
stature?
I was going to say size, and I was like, not literally. But yeah, his importance.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be cool. And it kind of turns into a Thanos situation. Is that going to be a vehicle to make him look better? Or is that going to...
Like, oh.
Yeah, you feel bad for him, right?
All he wants to do, he's just a little hungry.
Which is sadly exactly right.
Galactus is just a little hungry.
He's a little hungry. Get him a little thing to bite. Get him a little planet to bite. He's just a wee bit hungry.
He's just a baby.
I don't know what's happening, but it's hilarious. You want, please, sir, some more.
Galactus requires one world.
Oh, God. Yeah, exactly, and it's so interesting because he's not a bad guy. He does.
It's true. Technically, it's
very,
true.
Very destructive, but. The comics will tell you. They quite literally tell you. Reed Richards even says so.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Exactly. He's not a bad... He's chaotic neutral. He is chaotic neutral. He's not good or bad. He's just there, and he just happens to cause crazy havoc because he's consuming and killing billions of people at one time. But it's not with any other purpose other than... to feed and sustain himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, there's that whole gray line. But I think it would be so compelling to see more about him. But you'll find out in just a bit why I feel that way. So as for aesthetic, I mean, you tell me, Jeff, one for one.
I mean,
especially in the MCU.
The MCU one for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Like even the coloration, they've obviously like what some people would call MCU-ified, where it's a bit duller, not as contrasted, but even for that character and in that film, it was still so vibrant, and it really made him stand out. And yeah, it's the iconic look conceptualized first by Jack Kirby. And so I saw this tweet floating around all the last 2 weeks, and when people talk about Fantastic Four First Steps. And how they're just like, man, I wish Stan and Jack could have seen this because they would have like lost their minds. I know. If you saw the video Jeff did about Silver Surfer a while back, you'd see that Galactus went through a couple of coloration snafus between his cameo and his first appearance, where he was colorized first as red and green, and then, the purple and violet. Jeff, I have one more funny, delightful surprise for you, because at one point... he was like blue and pink.
Ooh, looking like a cotton candy.
Yeah, it looks like candy for sure. Yeah, very different. Again, it really depended on the colorist. It really depended. This was in Thor. So the colorist for Thor was like, I'll just use some blue and purple or pinks. Yeah. That's fine.
Okay.
So he's gone through a few iterations of different color issues, but purple, violet, and fuchsia is it for the most part. And of course, colors that are attributed to confidence and transformation, as well as wisdom and power, respectively. So it makes sense. Alexander Byrne headed the costume design for Fantastic Four First Steps. Because remember, folks, he was actually in a suit. It is not CGI.
Oh, yeah. Cool suit.
Yeah, Ralph was actually actively in that suit, living and breathing as Galactus. Alexander Byrne also previously worked on MCU projects Doctor Strange, Avengers Age of Ultron, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, The Avengers, and Thor.
Hell yeah.
So, I mean, between she and Maya C. Rubio, I mean, all these costume design leads are just nailing it. And then for your entertainment, Jeff, I did find a picture where he did not look like a space cloud. Where it's like a silhouette of fire that looks like helmet.
That's just like, here, fine, here. Like, all right.
Yeah, they're like, is an Easter egg. There you go. It looks like his helmet.
We had 3 months to do it, but here.
Yeah, exactly. So they gave us something in the Fox first.
Yes.
Powers and paraphernalia.
Skip it.
Jeff's favorite portion.
There's no point. There's no point.
You might be very surprised, but yeah, you're going to get pissed by the end of it. So at his core, Galactus is a cosmic being.
That's it. That's all you got to say. That's it.
Right?
Cosmic being. All right, cool.
Yeah. And so, of course, with that, as Jeff has essentially narrowed down, that comes with immeasurable power, cosmic, which is essentially defined as being the source of unlimited cosmic energy.
And there's no point.
Galactus is also godlike in his own right, often referred to as omnipotent and quote unquote the most awesome living entity in the cosmos, per Thor, number 134, published in 1966. But with great power come great resources. And Galactus is only as powerful as the resources he's consumed, aka planets. And so it's kind of like I said earlier. The more he is consumed, the larger he will be, and he needs to sustain it. So he's always pushing himself.
Yeah, but how do you starve him then?
Well, it's happened in Zombieverse. They kind of killed him and starved him, and then they ate him. So...
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
And so if he is somehow restrained or slowed down from consuming, then he will exponentially slow down and then eventually wither away to being somewhat powerless. And there are some villains that have been able to do this, which is why, as we'll talk about, the Fantastic Four have helped him. And it's kind of wild. And so... Nevertheless, Galactus's powers include, but are hardly limited to. Do you want to talk? Do you want to say this?
Jesus, what is this?
Oh yeah.
All right, guys, this is stupid, but we got immortality, godlike strength, stamina and speed, invulnerability, energy projection and absorption, force fields, levitation, size alteration, molecular restructuring, matter transmutation, teleportation, telepathy. It's just stupid. Telekinesis, cosmic awareness, resurrection. What's the point? Why even put immortality in there? Life creation, soul control and manipulation, recreate. Huh? Power, ability, bestowal, healing powers, and adapted appearance. 3 of these are just redundant.
Yeah. Resurrection
and healing powers. You can't resurrect if you never die.
He can resurrect other people.
That's stupid.
I'm so fired up. Yeah, so he is, again, omnipotent. He can quite literally do anything. But, again, he must consume to maintain any of these
everyone
things.
needs one thing.
Yeah.
Still,
well, some people do, like Molecule Man.
Oh, yeah.
He can only do molecule stuff. Stilt Man. He can only be on stilts. So, paste pot.
Stilt Man. Paste. So what do you do to defeat Stilt Man? Kick it out.
Exactly.
Kick it.
Exactly. So you got all shades of the gradient here, and unfortunately, Galactus is on that side of the spectrum where he can quite literally do anything that he puts his mind to.
I can't wait till we cover. I mean, we did a little bit. I get Celestials.
Yeah.
How do you defeat those, Mom?
Well, you don't.
Exactly.
You just really don't. It comes down to the universe must die. That's the only way they'll die. Like, literally the only way they'll die. That's why things like the Ultimate Nullifier exist. Because they're like, well, we're totally screwed. Guess I'll see you in the next one. And then they pull the trigger. And
precisely.
It's over. Yeah. And so... Galactus is much more toned down, if you will, in the MCU. And so his powers simply, used loosely, consist of power cosmic, which entails superhuman strength and durability, immortality, self-sustenance, aside having to devour planets, cosmic energy manipulation, which includes mental manipulation, telekinesis, biokinesis, power bestowal, X-ray / infrared vision, and light manipulation. So again, a little more pared down when it comes to the MCU because we've only seen him in one film. And the one thing that stands out to me in that particular power set is that he had biokinesis. So he could control someone's biology. And in this case, Susan Storm, as he induced her to give birth to Franklin before he was ready to come out. And so that brings us to love interest. If you can believe it, even the likes of Galactus is capable of a love interest, which is a lot about other entities that never have. And so there's the only one, which is Allah of Ta. And so nothing much is known about Alla aside that she's only made one appearance in the comics, specifically the Mighty Thor #4 in 2011. But she was very much pregnant before the planet's destruction and untimely demise. So we don't know anything. She has like literally one scene with him. I can show you because she was a pretty good-looking gal. She had one eye.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Very pregnant.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't know anything about her. The interaction they show you in the comics is quite literally the night before, I think, the plague, quote unquote, strikes the planet and they all die. So we never get to know her story. And although Galactus never had the child with Alla, he did create offspring in some manner when it came to a character named Tyrant. He created this living machine that would thrive on conflict and conquest. And so those two have squabbled in the comics quite a bit. Tyrant is incredibly powerful as well. But again, coming from the consciousness of Galactus, you can only imagine how powerful he is. Needless to say, none of those characters are in the MCU. Whether or not we'll see them, probably not. But there are a few other characters here that maybe one day we might actually get to see in live action. So that brings us to family, friends, and affiliations, beginning with Taya, Galen's time-displaced scientist mother. And she had an abundance of her own backstory. It's a bit all over the place, but very interesting stuff as well. When it comes to Galactus, however, Taya was able to conceive Galen with her own DNA and an unidentified donor, incubating what would become her son in a womb tube.
That sounds scary.
Of her own creation. So she's a scientist. She's a smart lady. She's like, I don't need no man. Goes to the sperm bank and then has the baby in a tube.
Sure.
Yeah. Progressive. Yeah. And so as for Galactus's father, it's said that the sentience of the sixth cosmos created Galactus by merging with him at the end of the multiversal renewal, aka when the universes died. So as far as his human father is concerned, we never learn who the mother obtained the DNA from.
Okay.
But as far as Galactus is concerned, they do attribute him being fathered by the sentience of the sixth cosmos. And so yeah, it's kind of like I said, he was in that spaceship thinking, oh, I'm getting radiated. What is this power coming through me? It's often attributed that it was actually this sentience coming to him and being like, I'm going to give you new life as the Devourer. So he had another birth, if you will. And so, of course, none of those characters have any MCU counterparts either, but it is important to note that cosmic beings are often regarded as Galactus's figurative relatives bound by the cosmos. So technically, Eternity, Death, and Galactus are all related. So, yeah, so Galactus and Aubrey Plaza, related.
Wow.
Technically.
That's crazy.
And again, Death and Thanos, technically married once upon a time. In love. And so all these characters are all related in some fashion. And again, we didn't even branch off into Celestial Land.
Yeah.
It's all one crazy, chaotic, family in a weird way. And as for Eternity and Death, those we've seen along the way in Thor, Love and Thunder, as well as Agatha all along. So they're kind of peppering them in, They're putting them in here and there. And so I wanted to briefly mention, the sentience of the sixth cosmos. Again, it's really complicated, dense stuff, but I wanted to note that fandom cites the sentience as the still unnamed entity is the embodiment of the sixth cosmos and the fifth multiverse. He is the inventor of science and the builder of the junction of everywhere. He succeeded the sentience of the fifth cosmos and then was replaced by eternity and infinity. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, some wild stuff. The moment you step into cosmic Marvel, it is tremendous.
I could imagine.
So unending.
It's like a whole nother thing.
Yeah, it really is. And I was like, gosh, this would really, to really do this episode and cover this character as thoroughly as we could, I mean, we would just have to weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of content.
I'm sure.
Weeks of content.
Sheesh.
And reading potentially hundreds of comics. But hopefully we can give you the good stuff and the surface level stuff that's most important here in this episode. As for notable adversaries, so it goes without saying, Galactus is, again, a cosmic level adversary, meaning he's more or less squared up against every hero in the Marvel Universe, but that doesn't necessarily absolve him of having adversaries of his own. Because, again, like, sure, he's incredibly omnipotent, powerful, formidable, scary, all those things. But for every big guy, there is a bigger guy. There just is.
Always.
And so we discussed this in previous episodes, how Galactus was not only defeated by an older futurist Thor, but also beheaded by an alternate future timeline Thanos. Promeal gods, Tenebris of the Darkness Beneath, and Aegis, Lady of All Sorrows, also get honorable mentions here, being two survivors of a civil war that were later held captive by Galactus in the infamous Kiln, and they double-teamed him at one time once they got free of their prison. And so, very quickly, the Promeal gods, they're a group of primordial cosmic beings that existed when the universe was young. So again, we're branching out to the...
Dude, that is like
before,
deep.
Yeah, super deep. Before Big Bang, pre-Big Bang stuff,
God.
You know what I mean? It's so crazy. Yeah, and again, we covered a lot of cosmic stuff in our Silver Surfer episode, but man, every time we talk about these characters in particular, the universe just grows even more each way. And Jeff's favorite new villain, Molecule Man,
so dangerous,
also had the capability of erasing Galactus with a single thought.
Wow. A thought?
So, yeah. So he was like, see my face when I do that. But
imagine you just look at somebody you think,
yeah,
you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the dangerous thing about Molecule Man is that he can literally, and he did it. We just talked about him with the Sentry.
So
like, how do you beat the Sentry? He resurrects. He can just come back. And Molecule Man, all he has to do is look at him funny.
I just imagine.
And he's like, bloop, gone. So all this guy had to do was look at Galactus and be like,
you're dead, buddy.
And you're dead, but it's never that easy. And also Molecule Man is dead. So yeah. But again, the it's vast, right? You know, it's never going to be this axe wielding 2 billion ton alien monster that can take Galactus down. It can be as simple as Molecule Man. Just conceiving the thought, you do not exist anymore. And it's done. But when it comes to specific arch nemesis, the first on my list is Abraxas. And so while Galactus seeks only to satiate his hunger by devouring planets, Abraxas finds beauty and perfection in the existence of nothing. Enjoys nothing.
Of course.
Just black.
Of
nothing,
course.
Right? And so
nothingness.
Abraxas himself is often described as a counterpart to creation itself, born of eternity. And its very existence depends on that of Galactus's. So where there is a Galactus, Abraxas can exist, but it's very complicated. Eternity ensured the existence of a Galactus variant in every reality to keep Abraxas at bay. He can only thrive if there's no Galactus. So in order to ensure that everything doesn't just turn to black, they had to ensure that Galactus existed so that they would keep this dude from destroying everything, basically. So there is an actual worse offender than Galactus eating planets. This dude is like, oh, what if I just made full-on multiverses not exist? And there would be no existence. Like, what does that turn into?
Yeah, that would. Jeez.
Not even Tony Stark can figure that one out. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. And so naturally, this character has a dense lore that's intriguing on its own. But until we see him in the MCU, we're not going to talk about him very much. That then brings us to something called the Black Winter.
Sure.
And so, Jeff, you've said it yourself. How do you beat somebody like Galactus? Well, in the comics, there is an alien race called the Enders, also known as the Great Black Winter. And of course, what could be worse than a planet-devouring godlike entity, you might ask? How about universe-consuming entities? Because that's what they are.
How is that even?
Again,
sure,
it's the little fish and the big fish. It's the shark and the tuna. Like, if Galactus is like nom nom nom, who nom nom noms on Galactus?
But then who nom nom noms that nom nom noms on Galactus?
Exactly.
Never ending.
So in fact, this is a modern take on the original creeping plague, originally introduced in Galen's origin story. So originally they referred to it as a creeping plague, but in modern continuity, they decided to give that creeping plague a face. So they turned it into this cosmic entity. I have a screenshot for you.
Are they scary looking?
No, not even that. It's quite literally just like a black hole.
That thing in the middle?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so it's just formidable because it has no shape. It has no actual face or anything. But they decided to change it that, oh, they died because of a plague, into like, no, it's an alien life form that just destroys universes.
Yeah.
Made it a whole lot scarier, to be honest. And so this made it an adversary of Galactus's. When it came down to it, it chose Galactus to be its herald.
Whoa.
Yeah. So if you think, oh yeah,
I didn't even know that was possible.
Right. Giant Galactus choosing his tiny, tiny Silver Surfer. Well, what does an entity like Black Winter or the Enders do? They take Galactus as their herald, which is insane.
Yeah.
And so again, that is all to say they do not have MCU counterparts. And so,
oh yeah.
But that is an entity that I could see in a Thor film. And I mean, all things considered, Galactus could pop up in a Thor film as well, if they really wanted to go there, because Thor is cosmic. It's just the truth. And so, of course, next on the list is a no-brainer, the Fantastic Four. So, as we've said many times before, while the Fantastic Four are prominently featured in Galactus's lore and have been since day one, they initially did not have a distinct connection beyond the four being protectors of Earth, and Earth simply looking like a snack for Galactus's hunger. They have, however, crafted incredibly dense lore over the last 65 years, this year actually.
Oh, wow.
With the Fantastic Four defeating Galactus as much as they've aided him, and how intrinsically intertwined they've become between the Richards family and Galactus, particularly with Franklin. So the connection between Galactus and Franklin, that connection has become so tightly knit, in fact, Franklin once combined forces with his sister Valeria to resurrect the Devourer to beat Abraxas, speaking of. And as has been mentioned time and again, it's foretold that Franklin's destiny to become the Devourer in the 9th cosmos, surviving the multiversal cycle, aka the end of reality, it happens alongside Galactus. It's very interesting because it's future Franklin, so he's already grown and all that stuff. Imagine, if you will, at the end of this reality, it is basically the dawn of the end. They're watching it together. And in that moment of the destruction, Franklin then absorbs Galactus's power and then becomes the Devourer.
Oh my gosh.
Because he is the last standing, existing individual in that reality.
Why do I feel like Franklin is the one that's going to defeat Galactus, bro?
Right. And so, yeah, he is fated to become Galactus, or at least the Devourer in the new reality.
Crazy.
And so over in live action, we have the Fantastic Four, portrayed by Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Eben Moss-Bachrach as the Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, and The Thing, respectively, who all made their debut in 2025's Fantastic Four First Steps, as well as other fine folks, including Geoffrey's other wife, Jessica Alba.
Yeah!
That we've talked about plenty times before. And the same could be similarly said when it comes to Galactus and the Four in the MCU. They don't have a direct correlation as to who, where, why, how, but in the MCU, Franklin is obviously the driver. Like, first it's like, oh, I'm hungry. I want to eat Earth.
Galacti hungry.
Nom, 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 nom.
Yummy, yummy.
And and he came to Earth thanks to the Surfer, but everything got escalated because of the essence and presence of Franklin being in Sue's womb. And he's like, ooh.
He's like, ooh.
I'll be free of this.
I'll be very satisfied after eating him.
He wanted to be free of the imprisonment of having to devour. Like, he wanted to be done with it. And if he could get Franklin to become the one on the Devourer's throne, then he could be, he thought at least, oh, I can go back to my natural. Yeah.
Oh, I'm good.
I don't have to eat planets anymore.
I wonder when Wonder when I wonder when oh my god, Susan and
Reed.
I wonder when they realize how strong Franklin is.
Oh, his actual
like
capacity?
Just like his yes.
Yeah.
You know, because they were so like hell bent on like, especially Reed. He's like no, like he's gonna be normal.
Yeah.
We want just like us. Like we don't want to put him in a position where he's one of us. Like he didn't make that choice. But it's like, well, you've just given birth to the most powerful being.
Which is so funny because like you get the idea that he thought he was gonna have like 12 fingers on one hand, you know, or he was gonna have 4
He's
eyeballs.
Gonna morph or something.
He had horns. Like I don't know, and you just get the idea that he thought it was gonna be so much worse as far as the biology.
And it is so much worse. He's the most powerful being in the universe. The most
powerful thing. Yeah, and so I would imagine they got the hint from the fact that again that Galactus was trying to make him the Devourer. Yeah, I feel like they'll see it sooner than later. I'm sure Sue even already had an idea by the end of the film where he's 4 years old.
I think Ree got an idea when I don't know, when he brought his wife back to life.
Exactly right. And they probably, much like in the comics, just layer by layer, more is revealed.
Yeah.
The more they get to know this child, the more the child gets older.
Yes.
And more comprehensive of the world around him. Oh boy.
Man.
Oh boy. And yeah, he's like a tiny genius. So, he's 4 years old. He's already talking about things that Tony Stark was talking about when he was 20. So yeah, it's just one of those things. And yeah, so in the films, Galactus identified Franklin as a successor for the title. And then he tried to speed up the process by inducing Sue. And that whole confrontation in space, and then he finally makes it to Earth, which we never thought would happen.
Yeah.
And that whole sequence is incredible. And like Jeff said, Franklin is so powerful. He was able to resurrect his own mother. Not even resurrect, just bring her back to life.
Yeah.
Recalibrate her life force as a baby.
Pretty much.
A baby.
I know.
As
a
Moira
newborn
would say. Moira Rose, a baby. And so of course at the end of the film we've talked about this many times that Shala Bal helped thrust Galactus into God knows where and followed suit, so they're floating around the ether somewhere. But that was Earth 828, and so whether or not they stay in that universe or they get teleported to Prime Earth universe or we see another version of them, anyone's guess until they show up. And of course, the obvious offender of them all, as far as his adversaries are concerned, is his own hunger. And so his gift is his curse. And in fact, during his birth, as Galactus, they describe how, quote unquote, the very planet which midwifed him is the first world to succumb to his deadly appetite. And it was a planet known as Arcopia. And we would be remiss to mention, however, that despite the hunger, Galactus' self-proclaimed destiny is to also give back to the universe infinitely more than he ever took from it. So he has some sort of purpose where he's like, okay, I'm going to devour these planets, but I'm also going to give back one for one.
Oh, yeah.
See, and it's like, interesting.
I'll destroy 8 billion people, but I'll give back.
Yeah,
I'll give back.
Right, exactly. And so they really just kind of make him into this altruistic, like weirdly altruistic, like villain.
He's a philanthropist.
Oh, great, Jeff. So it's interesting stuff, but again, it's so dense. It's hundreds of comic books that you have to read to really get the breadth of what makes this character.
I like him.
No, I think he's great.
I want a headpiece.
You can get that now. You can
I want a headpiece, and I want to wear it when I drive.
In your Odin ship.
Yes, in my Odin ship.
In your Odin ship. Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, careful what you wish for, Jeff. You might come down for the next episode, and I'll have a full-on Galactus.
You know what? I hate how accurate that possibly is. Someone could listen to this. They'll see you at a con and they'll be like, I heard Jeff wanted a Galactus head. I had one lying around. Can you bring this back to him? And I'm going to be like, damn it.
Yep.
I'm never going to say anything again.
We're just going to have you wear it, man. I mean, 3D printers are a thing, buddy. We can get you one for 224 bazookas. Right there.
I got a big head, though.
Yeah. See, you got to get it. You got to measure it.
I got a big head.
Oh, so funny. And so all of that said, we're going to actually dive into a little more about Galactus in other media as well as his other versions. So variants, if you can believe it, there are over 200 variants of Galactus in the comics. 9 more in animation. Ooh. And 22 in video games. Ooh. And so there's more than that. There's more in just like random articles of pop culture. You know what I mean?
I never really no.
Right. And so that again, and this doesn't even count the ones in the multiverse. Like it's insane. There's so many. And although we're not going to discuss Galactus himself from the video games, there is a particularly prominent character who is quote unquote related. She's more of a progeny named Galacta, who hails from Earth 610102.
Better move that vehicle.
God, she's so annoying in Rivals. I'm so sorry to the voice actor, but man. Yeah, that's what Death said when you two dated. I'm like,
better stop that vehicle.
She's so annoying. She's so annoying. God, hurry! They're gonna get it. Like I'm just like, I have her turned down too. I have her turned down to the lowest level that they'll allow me to turn her down. That's how much I don't like her. But you know, that's not uncommon.
I love your disdain for her.
That's 99% of players, I promise you. But anyway, on Earth 610102, in that alternate universe, Galactus contracted a parasitic entity that would eventually become Gali, who would later take on the moniker Galacta, protector of Earth. So she looks like the one in the game. She saw herself as like, I'm Galactus's daughter. And then she was like, I hate him so much, I'm going to protect Earth. And it's basically the antithesis of him in that way, but she's not his daughter.
I'm going to stop that vehicle.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like trying to remember what else she says, and I can't.
I can't, because that's all I can hear.
My mind has blocked it out. Like, oh my God. And so, so she is based on a comic book character that they then pulled into the video game verse many times by this point. And although there is a Galacta in 616 continuity who goes by Gail Arakawa, she was otherwise a normal human being, simply imbued with what they call, quote unquote, Galactus goo, aka his power essence. So the scenario was that they were keeping, like, I forgot who it was. These adversaries managed to restrain him enough that they began to syringe his power from him and then experiment on regular human beings and give them it like a super serum. Like they're giving it to them like a super serum. And so Gail Arakawa happened to be one of these people, and it was part of an operation called Project Galacta, and it didn't go anywhere. So it's just there. Like Gail is just floating in the ether, and she has powers, cosmic powers, but they've never expanded on it at all. But Galacta is part of the universe.
What if I name my daughter Gail and be like, oh, it's short for something. They're like, Galacta. For what? Galactus.
Galactus, like the middle name, full name. Oh,
Gail Galacta.
Brother. Oh, brother. Yeah.
Better stop that vehicle.
Exactly. Jesus. And so, as for Almost Was, although no other names surfaced as far as casting Galactus in the MCU is concerned, fans floated a lot of favorites through the ether, some suggesting the likes of Gerard Butler, Bryan Cranston, Lawrence Fishburne, Gary Oldman, and Mark Hamill for the role. But as far as we know, Ralph Ineson was a shoo-in, and Feige's team looked no further.
What's the basis on those first 4 or 6 actors?
I think with for Gerard and Bryan Cranston, I think it was equal parts. They've played really good bad guys. Bryan Cranston, his portrayal, his Walter White.
Yeah, maybe like Bryan Cranston's like voice as Walter White.
Yeah.
But I don't really see Gerard Butler, even his voice.
Not at all. I don't see him. Not even close.
Lawrence Fishburne, sure.
I feel like Gerard's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's weird. Lawrence Fishburne, it's the voice. and I guess the presence of his deliveries.
Sure.
Because you have to imagine people were probably thinking, oh, he's just going to be voiced. He's not going to be a practical person.
Yeah.
Haha, joke's on them. Because they actually put him in a suit and put him in the film. But for somebody like Gary Oldman, I think same thing as Bryan Cranston, where he's just portrayed really incredible villains, if you will. And he is, like, his presence is very... I don't know. It's outstanding.
Yeah.
Nevertheless. And Mark Hamill, obvious, it's his voice work.
Yes.
Is incredible.
Yes.
So
but when I saw that clip of Ralph Ineson in a show and like oh, this is the voice of Galactus and I forget the name of the show, but like I just remember being like, oh my God.
When
like,
that dropped,
I was like,
it was a needle drop for the universe.
Oh, like that's a crazy sounding voice.
Oh, and they did it perfectly. But again, like, you don't even need to see his face necessarily, but he has the features of the comic book character as well. And works perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, his voice is just a bonus. Like, God dang.
Yeah.
Like, that's a voice, you know, like, for sure. And again, they made the right move in that they prioritized the voice than the look, not the look and then the voice, which is not the case.
Because the voice could easily like kind of take you out.
Sure, exactly.
If it's not like right.
Right. For instance, I didn't want to bring this up, but I'm going to anyway. For instance, Masters of the Universe. People are surprised Jared Leto is Skeletor, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't see his face. And now, but his voice. And it's kind of interesting that, like, oh yeah, well, he doesn't sound like the cartoon version, but you have to give him a chance. He's only said one thing.
Yeah.
But like Galactus, like, he barely needed to speak, and that character is just whew.
Yeah.
Looks and voice just on it.
Works.
So, future of the character in the MCU, Jeff.
Oof.
I know we've said a lot already, but
I mean, I wonder. My thing is, I just wonder where he's at. I wonder where they sent him.
Biggest question.
Like,
truly.
we don't know where he got sent at.
Well, do you think Reed's contraption was capable of sending him to another universe? I think that's the important question.
I mean, he's the smartest man. I would hope so.
Yeah, right.
Hope so.
Because, I mean, it wasn't the intention necessarily, because I don't think Reed himself even knew the capacity and potential of his own machine.
Sure, of course.
But, like, yeah, I think there's a small chance they could have ousted him, but I don't think they did. I think they just put him somewhere else.
I think they put
in 818.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Unless, like, it's something like, oh, no, I think I put him in another universe.
Which would be crazy.
And Reed is like, I didn't know I can do that.
Yeah, because then that poses the question, is there then 2 Galactuses and 2 Silver Surfers in that universe?
In one, yeah. And now...
Yeah, exactly.
So, but...
Nerd salad.
I hope he pops up soon, again, because he's too big of a figure to just be floating out there. I don't know.
I know. It's difficult because it depends on which route they want to pave and how broad of the universe they want to go. Yeah. And if they're going to bring the Celestials back into the mix, because he would be a perfect candidate to kind of bring forth. But even if, hypothetically, Thor 5 happens and he's in there and goes away or is defeated or whatever the scenario is, I'd be fine with that. I don't need to see him again, but I would like to.
Yeah. Like, I'm just like, how crazy is Secret Wars going to be?
That's the thing. Exactly.
Like, can you go bigger? Do you want to go bigger than Doomsday?
Mm-hmm. Well, you kind of have to for that one, too.
You kind of have to.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting into crazy territory.
That's the thing.
Like, Endgame was crazy already. And now you're doing a Doomsday, which has to go into Secret Wars.
Well, they've really put themselves in a corner because it could very much be like a Civil War situation where they adapt it to a point. Yeah. And then the rest of it,
like, it is what it is.
It's just something. Yeah. It's some MCU, again, word salad. Yeah. So it depends how hard they go on that title and on the source material, which I think people are making a mistake by going too hard on. Like, they're already making all these assumptions that, oh, it's going to be this with this character in the black suit and da-da-da, and da-da-da, and this is going to happen. And it's like, guys, so it's maybe a 3-hour movie. Yeah. And you got to think, like, oh, how much are they actually going to adapt? Like, you just don't know. We don't know until it comes out.
It's gonna be fun though.
It's gonna be
It's
fun.
gonna be fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we could see a flicker of him at some point.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect it so soon. But if it was gonna happen anywhere, probably be Doomsday and or Secret Wars.
Yes.
So for suggested reading, kind of light, kind of not a long list because, again, these are incredibly dense comics, but just a few for suggesting 2019's History of the Marvel Universe. For all the exposition you could possibly ask for on Galactus and other related characters, it focuses on Franklin and Galactus, speaking of, at the end of the universe. So it's interesting because it shows them at the end of this, like, it's the multiversal cycle, and they're quite literally going through the characters from their perspective. So he goes through, like, the Fantastic Four. Susan Storm was blah, blah, blah in the university and met Reed Richards and da-da-da. And then when he gets to Franklin, he's like, oh, Franklin Richards, the son of Sue and Reed, the most powerful mutant in existence. And Franklin was like, he's like, I didn't think you were going to cover me, but... okay. It's really interesting. But yeah, he goes through every character. Well, I mean, not everybody, but he goes through like the X-Men and the Avengers. It's very interesting. 1996, Galactus, the origin. And so this is more or less a repeat of the pages of his origin from Thor, but it's still worth the read. In fact, a better one in a lot of ways because it cuts away all the extra bits and focuses solely on Galactus. Because in the Thor issues, there's this whole other side arc of like people from Asgard doing subplots, and the only parts that Galactus is only in it for so many pages, but in the origin, it's quite literally only that story condensed into an issue.
Got it.
And so it cuts away all the fat, if you will.
The feet.
And of course, the classic Silver Age issues of the Fantastic Four, specifically those we've mentioned throughout this episode, as well as, and I didn't talk about this because again, there's too much lore. We would be here all day. And so there is an arc called The Trial of Reed Richards that stems from 1983's Fantastic Four number 262. And so it branches off into different issues. But the idea is that Reed is on trial with the Shi'ar Empire, who is part of the X-Men universe, if you will, for saving Galactus's life with further expansion of his origin. So they talk even more about who Galactus is and what exactly his place in the bigger picture and how he affects everybody just by existing. It's intense. It's a lot. But it's very good. Yeah, it's great. And so with all that said, that is the end of the show. Thanks for listening. Next episode. So we're gonna tackle one of the lesser known adversaries. And so we're going from the big guy, the big guy, to a much tinier guy. Tiny living space. Yeah, you got that.
Oh yeah.
And he happens to be from Daredevil Born Again. So join us in 2 weeks where we will talk about Buck Cashman.
Oh yeah.
AKA Bullet.
His English accent in the show just really sways me. You know?
He's so alluring. Like I remember thinking when he first appeared, I was like, "Who's that?" I was like, "Who's this character?" Because he's not anything like Bullet in the comics. I said this to Jeff earlier. I was like, "Oh, he's not as cute," but this fella in the show, suave, smooth, very dangerous. So we're gonna talk about Buck Cashman and dive into the underlings of the Kingpin's underworld. But yes, thank you to all of our Patreon supporters, and a special We Are Groot salute to Joe, Liz, Melanie, Laura, Ed, Andrea, Ashley, Andrew, Chris, Jenny, Sherry, Tyler, Nats, Robin, and Katie. Follow us on social at STRKCNTRST. If you experienced ads during this episode, you can also unlock an ad-free version of this podcast by supporting us on Patreon. If you like what you hear, review, rate, and subscribe.
Once again, thanks for listening. We will catch y'all on the next one.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
I was once little light.